I want introduce, I was reading a little bit about, I just met these wonderful people here to my right, and I was reading a little bit about all of them in our journal, and it was pretty cool because the common thread for every one of them was they were really passionate about getting well. They did a lot of research, and they're now giving back and sharing to their communities, and you guys are amazing. So welcome. Ursula, Tom, and Melissa, and Ursula is going to be our first speaker.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for being here. And thank you for, it's an honor. It's an honor for me, can you hear it? Closer. Okay.
You can take
All right. Okay, okay. My name is Ursula, and I'm from Naples, Florida. I lived all over the world. I came at the age of 21 to the United States because I love Europe, but I can't live there. I don't like the school system. I couldn't work for a company there, and I thought America is a free country. And at 21, I started off in New York, went to Chicago, started a company at the age of 23, had fun, manufactured kitchen utensils, traveled the world with it. And one day, my best customer copied my products in Taiwan. Stress. I was a vegan. I believed in meditation. I believed in prayer. I believed in good food. I believed in exercise. I couldn't get sick for anything. One day, I thought I was going to die. Now, I'm cancer-free already for 15 years, to give you an idea how long ago that was. So what happened is, I was bleeding to death one night. I had big blood clots coming out of my body, and I called my two best girlfriends and said, I'm going to die tonight. And they go like, you're 52 years old, you're in menopause, what do you think, you know? Don't go to the hospital tonight, just wait till tomorrow. See your gynecologist. Well, of course, dummy me, waited till the next day, went to my gynecologist, which I saw every year, so I had a checkup every year. And he says, oh, Ursula, you're so healthy, nothing is wrong with you. I said, well, I went to Europe and I feel like I lost too much blood. He says, he went in with the camera at that time, and he said, you have a cyst. So tomorrow, to stop the bleeding, I'll operate on you. So I went in, and he operated. It was supposed to be an hour. I never had really asthma in my life or anything really dramatic, so I was out. My girlfriend said she stopped by 4 times to pick me up. It took 4 hours. So he mumbled something, I didn't remember, but he called me the next day and said, your ovary didn't look good, so I took it out, but don't worry about it. Come to my office in 10 days. So he called me after 5 days and says, come to my office. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good. I came in and he said, you have cancer, just like that. I mean, I have my family in Europe, I have a lot of friends in Chicago where I lived at that time. And I just looked at him and go like, I'm not going to cry in front of him. I'm going to wait till I get home. So I went home, I went on my knees, and I go like, God, please, why now? It's a bad time for me. It doesn't fit right now. And I know my dad died at my age at 53. So I'm like, I don't want to go there. I saw him suffer. I go like, please, please help me. I cried for, I don't know, it felt like hours or days, but it was hours. And then I realized, well, I got to face fact. I'm German, whether I want it or not. So I have to look and see what I'm supposed to do. He said I need a second operation. Of course, I went to the Northwestern, Loyola, Hinsdale, you name it. I went to 4 different places to double check, and they all said from my pathology report, you need a second operation, and then chemo radiation. Well, I want to take one step at a time, since I've never been sick in my life, and see what this is all about. So I had my second operation, not really understanding whether I needed it or not. I had lymph nodes affected. I had separate uterine cancer and touch in my lungs. I started coughing, and here I am going in Chicago to everyone, including Dr. Block. My one girlfriend went there too. And I wanted nothing to do with chemo and radiation. That was my biggest issue. I wanted to find a doctor who can tell me, no, it's okay, you don't have to take chemicals, do like something like food or something else. Well, I didn't hear from them, And one of my friends dedicated $1 million to Northwestern. So I got an appointment with the big guy, and he was very mad that I showed up in his doorstep. And he said, "How did you get the appointment?" I said, "It was $1 million appointment. Ed Mullen paid for this." And he goes, "Okay." And he said, "I have your records in front of me. What is wrong with you? I mean, everyone tells you what you have. You need the treatment. You're going to die in a year anyway with the treatment. Maybe you have another half a year." And I go like, "There must be more." And he says, "Ursula, be real." Now, I do have to say, I have friends who were oncologists and radiologists, and Thomas used to work for me as a kid and as a student. So he was saying, "You know, you need some radiation." And I went, it never felt right, but he kind of talked me into having a bed mate. I don't know if you know what this is, but I had in very much areas, so they form it around you, and you go for testing. I went once, it didn't look good. I walked out, they have coffee, I don't drink coffee, and I wouldn't eat their cookies. So I came back the next setting, which was one more time before my treatment. I looked up again, and I walked out of there. It just didn't feel right. So I decided what to do, and I didn't really know where. I didn't know about too much alternative at that time, no internet, 15 years ago. So I met a friend of a friend, and they gave me a book called Cancer Battle. And this is what I want to tell everyone, which is the most important part, is to give hope. That's what I had from this book. It gave me hope. She had cancer 2 or 3 times, did chemo radiation. They told her 6 weeks to live, and she was fine. She went juicing, she did everything, and no cancer, I think, for about 17 years. So I figure if she can do it, I can do it. I'm very strict. If someone tells me, "You do this and this and this and you cure," I will do it. So our friends that go to Mexico, because in Chicago, I didn't know where to go, so I went to Mexico, to a clinic in Mexico. Now, I hate to say that, but I went to 3 clinics, okay? I looked at different clinics. I looked at Gerson Clinic, and it wasn't me, because I feel like you have to go with your personality. Gerson was juicing like every hour, and 5 times coffee enema. And then I went to Hilda Clark. I looked at hers. I read her book too. And dying didn't sound bad after reading her book and saying what to do. So that was my choice. And I go like, no, there must be more. So I found American Biological Clinic, which switched off, and I think they're here right now. And they gave me a balance of understanding what cancer is all about. And they talked about organic. Now, I was a vegan, so for me to become and stay vegan was really easy. Juicing I did, and I did Qigong, which before I did yoga, but I think Qigong brings in like different energy. So I learned breathing. I had 2 operations. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk at that time. And they gave me a lot of hope to go back to the United States and really know that I might have 2 years or 3 years. And the best thing which happened in Mexico, that I met Judy, and we became buddies. This means we went to strange seminars, releasing balloons, doing weird healings, but we did it together. We talked about our fears. We talked about dying. We talked about not dying. And we always said, after 2, 3 years, "God, please give us 5 more years. We'll wake up every day and we say, thank you. We're going to be in gratitude. And 5 years will be forever." Well, the 5 years went by, and guess what? I was still here, and so was she. Now, that's where I learned that there's so much more to it, and that actually doctors don't know. You're really in charge of your life. So what I did too, when I came back from Mexico, a friend of a friend, that's how it always happens, listen to who talks to you, listen who you meet. And they talked about a guy in St. Augustine who did frequency healing. Now that sounded really weird and bizarre to me. And I asked her, what did he do? Well, she had breast cancer twice. They gave her 3 months to live and said, go home and die. She went to this guy. She was holding on to something, and he worked with frequency and explained it's like cancer and every illness is like an onion. So you work with the frequency and you peel the onion. And every time you peel a little bit more, I went there 4 times, I was cancer-free. That's what showed up on his screen. So of course, I just didn't believe him alone. I also went living in Chicago to Chinatown. Now, the guy saw me before Mexico, so he saw my tongue and he goes like, Ursula, bad tongue, no good. Chemo, no good. Radiation, no good. Mexico, really bad. But me, I can help you. Well, I drank his tea for 6 months. I hope I never have to touch that tea again in my life. But he gave me one good advice. He said, Ursula, you might not have a long time to live. While you're alive, enjoy life. Sell everything you have and move on. Now, that's where my problem was. Moving on, I had a company in a lawsuit for 12 years. So this means, who can I sell my company to when I have a lawsuit? I'm talking big people, not little people. But I found a guy. It's like in the middle of the night, I woke up and I always made a list of people who would be interested in my company if I would die or something would happen to me. Well, there was a guy last on the list, I won't give you names, and he was kind of nerdy, didn't have a lot of money, but I figured I could work something out. So it was like someone pulled me to this drawer. I called him the next day and says, I have a deal to make. I really want to sell my company to you. And he says, yeah, let's talk. Well, we made a deal for 8 years, and I figured, I'll live 5 years. I have enough money to live. The rest I spent, have a good time, travel all over the world. I don't need much more anyway now, because I know who I am. So he bought the company under contract, and we had another contract with a lawyer that he wouldn't be involved with, and that if anything happens, he would help him, whatever. The lawsuit was for 12 years. So what I learned in those 12 years, to keep my emotion under control. And there are a couple books out there, including, what's his name? I have to think of it. God. Henry Lodge writes a book, Younger Next Year. He says too, not what's your IQ, what's your EQ, what's your emotions? If your emotions are not strong, your IQ means nothing. And that's what I worked on. I took classes from Donna Edens. She does energy medicine. I don't know if you ever heard of her. She's kind of light and a little kooky, but very wonderful. You can go online. She has a 5 minutes energy healing. I tap myself still. And I did Roger Canahan. He also does tapping. And if you put down your email, I also wrote my book, Journey to Wellness. I will send you all the information I have, and I do PowerPoint so that you can go look at all the websites, because I'm into sharing. That's my mission and passion, to help other people. And I believe that the emotions helped me a lot to clear and stay in my lawsuit. My lawsuit only settled 3 years ago. It could have gone on for another 5 years because we didn't settle the way I wanted to. But I didn't want to be exposed to it, since I know now I'm going to live longer, so I just have to learn to live with less money. And this really, I feel, is good for everyone. And then, of course, the frequency healing. I continue with my frequency healing. I bought at that time every frequency machine from Germany I could get a hold of. And I still love frequency. Now, frequency could be like earthing. This means walking on the beach. Schumann resonance is the earth, which is 8.73, I think. So if you wear the wrong shoes, have too many computers on, have too many iPhones on you, you're disturbing it. So when you go outside and even sit in the grass and put your feet barefoot out there, it will help you to bring up your own healing and resonance. So the body really can do a lot. I also did skin brushing every day. And of course, SERT. I read the book on Renee Casey, and I saw the movie, which is on YouTube, about cancer, The Forbidden Cure to Cancer, incredible. And again, I have all the information I can email to you. I did wheatgrass. If I smell one more wheatgrass, I'm running the other way. I did it for 1 year. And you just name drinks. I have one drink from Germany, which I drank every day and I enjoyed. It was a highlight. It was Concord grapefruit with cottage cheese and some like grapes or seeds with it. And I mixed it every day. And that was the highlight of my day. So I followed the routine of being a mostly raw vegan, which I did before, so it was no problem with it. And there's one more thing Mexico taught me, is doing coffee enema. Now, the first time I was with the girlfriend there, so she goes like, "You're not going to do this up your butt, are you?" And I go like, well, no, I don't want to. But they showed us a movie. It was 45 minutes. And the movie was, I know how to do a coffee enema. It showed that it's not about an enema. It's really about putting, to detoxify your body. If you drink your coffee, it's acid. If you do it up your butt, you see how weird your body is? It alkalines your body. It goes around to all the organs and at the same time cleans out your blood. I did it every day. I also did it while I went to Germany every day. Now, I didn't tell my mother I had cancer because my mother had cancer many times. My dad died at 52 of cancer, so I didn't want to burden her. But at the end of it, my brother always says, Mom is a hard cookie. And I don't know if you saw the movie, which was Book Thief. Okay, you met my mother in that movie. No, I'm just saying that was my mother, the German lady there. Strict, no smiles, so that was her. So I told Mom I had cancer. And you know what she said? So, you still have it? I said, no. She said, we're talking about it. I don't get it. She had ovarian cancer, which I didn't even know. She cured herself. She didn't do chemo radiation, but I saw she had skin cancer one time. That's why I knew. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. So she was like, what's the big deal? So you just get rid of it. So that's the family I came from, just to give you an idea why I left early, okay? It's really easy. Also, Dr. William Lee is just wonderful. I don't know if you saw him on YouTube or on a TED platform. He shows what cancer is all about in anti-angiogenesis. He shows you food. He says, why not using food instead of chemotherapy? I mean, incredible. I met the guy. I have a picture with him and Chris now. Thank you, Chris, too, for the picture. So these are my favorite people because I send out Chris's website all the time to give people hope. Because that's what you want. You want hope. And this is the most important thing. And my mission and passion is that I want to lecture. I normally lecture with the PowerPoint and explain a little bit more. But this is wonderful, just to tell my story and nothing else. Let's see what I forgot. I'm writing a new book because I realize that people don't listen to what I have to say. So I'm writing it with a girlfriend of mine. She's going to make a coffee enema make funny, so you'll laugh about it. And it is called Thrive Past 95. It's going to be real easy to learn about the gut, because the most important thing is in the gut. I do my own probiotic. I do my kombucha tea. I made it 20 years ago. I made it 10 years ago. It tasted horrible. Now you can go to any health food store and buy it in different tastes. Mango, Concord grape, you name it. I just was in Sedona. You have it in every little place in Sedona. You can go to a gas station and have it there. That's how wonderful it is. So, I don't know, time-wise, how am I doing? I'm doing okay?
Just about done.
Okay. The conclusion is, the conclusion is, Mother Earth gives you everything you need and more. And my purpose is to help everyone get hope and hope that everyone goes out there and knows there's healing, that the body can heal. Thank you very much.